Vlogs, episode 15. So I was working on this FBX model, the one from last episode that looked really strange and wiry. Well, as you can see, she works fine here, and I have made no changes. The only changes I actually made was I didn't load all the other models. So there's some sort of conflict, probably with a reused resource that's unintended. So I'm going to have to dig in and figure out what that is. It looks like it has something to do with the bones of transformations, but those shouldn't be overlapping as far as I know. So maybe it's something else obscure. Well, overall though, things are looking pretty good. And wow, yeah, she scales up really fast. Super lady. Yeah. So if I back up, the scale will actually make a little more sense. Oh wow, she's going out of render range at that point. But the flickering textures, don't worry about it. It's just this shader, I think. When I'm using the actual lit shader, it shouldn't do that at all. So not as big of a deal as it looks like. I don't think anyway. Okay, but we can also move her around. So naturally, once we can make her like move forward and walk with the code when we're actually doing real in-game stuff. But we have all the options available here for full rotations, and I have it set in a way that should avoid most gimbal lock. So I feel pretty comfortable with our spatial stuff. All right, but yeah, I guess I just really wanted to show here that the FBX is working actually fine. Let's try loading in both models, both animated models, and see what happens. All right, so I've added back in the code this guy and got his own little IMUI thing for him, so I could get him kind of situated in a good space to do some little comparisons. And well, it's pretty obvious here when we load both of them, the issue shows itself. So we've narrowed it down pretty well just based on that. Let's flip him around. And I know what to look into. And this is why you do beta tests, because it looked fine when there was just one. But you don't want to ship that yet. You got to keep working on it. Anyway, that's where I'm at, and we're going to dig in and figure this out. And I believe the place to start here is by carefully analyzing these transforms and these bones. I have a feeling it has something to do with one of those. But which and why, that is the question. Now, I'm leaning towards really examining this model loader and making sure we're not reusing something that we shouldn't be reusing, since these are all static functions. The only thing that really gets reused is this last anim path, and that shouldn't be causing the issue, but it could be. Well, let's see. When we do a new load, we assign the path to whatever we're loading, so it shouldn't be pathing to the wrong one for something like one of these. Oh, maybe. I gotta think about this. There's a lot of off the top of my head stuff I say in these episodes that ends up not really being correct, but it's just sort of my debugging process. And if I keep going with this, that's probably what it's going to end up as. And while some of you like that, majority of people want to see edited content and just want to see the answer right away, and I get that. So I'm going to pause right here and come back with the results. Still debugging and working on things, but I had to get this captured because this is just amazing. Just look at the guy on the left. Okay, so what is happening here is the last model, animated model that I load, that seems to be the one overriding the stuff before it, or something like that. It's very weird, but I almost want to save this configuration just to do that weird effect on the left at some point, because that's pretty amazing. That could make for a good, I don't know, something creepy. Well, anyway, that does help me narrow down the problem, but I just had to capture this moment. 5 days later, at least. All right, I'm giving up on whatever the problem is with animations right now. Now, that being said, it's not that they don't work. There are just some issues that I can't figure out, and I have a feeling that one day it's going to click, but I've looked at it and gotten burnt out on the problem, and I'm not seeing it. So at this time, I've decided I'm just going to move on, but I'll explain what it is, and maybe someone will have some wonderful insight that will help. Because, well, I can tell you what the problem is. I just can't pinpoint where it's happening. This is doing a build. Looks like it's downloading some packages that updated. All right, cool. That's another thing that's great about using the JSON or the manifest. This bad boy, if the libraries update, it's just going to go get them. Well, you can specify a version, so if you don't necessarily want it to update, it won't. But if you don't, it's just going to keep these all up to date. And it looks like it's updating. What is it updating? Let's take a look. This is kind of a need to know thing sometimes. Looks like it is ASIM, which is Open Asset, or whatever, Open Asset Import Library, something like that, whatever they call it. I should really think about this stuff before I just pop on here and start talking. But the reality is sometimes I'm just like, all right, I need to do an update. Let me hit the button, and I just go in with no plan, swinging. Okay, it updated some other stuff too, maybe? Yeah, wow, we had a lot of packages rebuilding. So we're going to let it do its thing. And I guess while that's going on, I'm going to talk about the tests. So I made the tests a little bit better. They now work as you would more expect. Like this just, the tests aren't complete, but this does give some framework for how they should be done in the future. So we have a test method and we basically do some stuff. But in this doing some stuff, we can add some prompts with IamGUI to have the user specify whether it's okay or not. And that's kind of a cool thing. So in the future, if it's a test that is something happening on the screen and there's not necessarily a way to get a true false from it, we can prompt the user to click true or false or an OK button or something like that. Because sometimes we just want to test if things look right, and if the math is adding up but they're not looking right, then there's a problem. So there's just a lot of scenarios. But yeah, being able to just make a pop-up is really useful when you're doing a lot of graphical type tests. Like, does this animation look all right? And then load another one. Does this one look okay? You can kind of yes, no through them. So we're going to have some tests like that, but also I do want to have a set of fully automated tests too. And once we get these tests a little more well established, the example project will get deleted, or maybe we'll just move it to its own repo or something. That would probably make more sense, because it does have quite a bit of logic and examples within it at this point. So the example project has some value, but it's not really part of the library. It doesn't add anything to the functionality of what Ancient Archer as a pseudo game engine, or whatever you want to call it, is. Speaking of, that's another thing. What do you call this? Now, this is most similar to something called Raylib, which I've never actually really used Raylib, but Raylib is a well-known, simple and easy to use library to enjoy video games programming. This is basically what Ancient Archer is aiming to be, not on purpose. I literally did not know about Raylib when I started making my engine, but if I were to start over, I would just not make my engine like I talked about in my Don't Make a Game Engine talk, and I would just learn Raylib and get really good at it, because I wouldn't be sitting here stuck on all these back-end problems all the time, and I would just be able to make my game. And yeah, Raylib, I need to do a video on Raylib, and so maybe I will learn it properly at some point, but that doesn't change the fact that now that I've got my whole engine project going, it's not like it's going to go anywhere other than forward, right? So I might as well keep it up to some extent, even if I do put it on the back burner sometimes. So I'm curious, how do you guys handle stuff like that, where you're working on a project and you find out later that it's not really needed, it's sort of obsolete, but you really like the project and you're having fun working on it, and it's a cool thing to, or maybe a fun thing to hack on when you're bored and don't have anything else. Like, maybe let me see if I can get this going on my own, kind of thing. So that's what this Ancient Archer is. If it becomes something real at some point, awesome. It is very real to me. I do plan on making a game with it, and still kind of working up to that, but we're getting closer and closer with every update. So please, while we're sitting here building packages still, go to the GitHub for Ancient Archer and give it a star. 1 star equals 1 vlog. I think we're at 14 at the time of this recording, so we'll see what we get up to and how many vlogs I'm going to owe you guys, because I do every video that I owe. Now, I did say that I was going to show you where I think the issue with the animations is, and I will, but this is still building, so give me a minute. Alright, well, I was checking out Raylib, and it looks like they have some games, and I clicked on this one, and like, what? I'm blown away by how, look, just watch. Okay, what do we got here? Let's analyze a little, okay? Koala Seasons, press to play, alpha version. Okay, 3 3, 2. What's happening? What's and what? Life killed you? What is this game? This is so bad it doesn't even seem real. Like, what are you talking? Like, how do you even play? What are you talking? You can't just do this in a game. Alright, Raylib not looking so good anymore. Okay, I'm gonna say that I'm not aiming for a Raylib. This is awful already. Like, what the heck? I know that this is the developer's fault, but with that buggy sound, like, how do you make a game that... You don't put up games that are that bad, okay? Just, do you have any idea how many games I've made? I've made so many games. You know how many of them I put out? None. And some of them I would say were objectively better than that koala game. Oh, that thing's finally launching. Okay, we're getting out of Raylib. Needless to say, initial impression of Raylib is not good over here. Not good. I don't mean to bash. I'll try it on my own sometime and make my own true opinion. But alright, so here we go. Yeah, guy animates. He walks. It's fine. But the problem comes in when I add more than one animated model. If I add another guy, another animation, the issues start happening where they're all buggy, like we were seeing at the beginning. And as far as I can tell, they are sharing the animation, and I don't know why, because I've looked at it. They're different animations, they've got different addresses, they're different instantiations, but they all seem to be like linking together. So like the wrong animations are playing on the wrong bones and models, and that seems to be the issue. But if I just load a single one, it's fine. So we're going to leave it like this for now until I find the issue, because I looked for it, I debugged, I determined that it was fine, and I couldn't figure out why I was having a problem. Now, I realize that it's going to be something really simple. It's probably one line of code somewhere, just one little thing, one wrong share, one thing that's copying a pointer or something like that when it's not supposed to be. So I have some ideas of what to try, but I haven't entirely solved it. But this has been taking too long. I'm going to leave what I got in there. I put it under the testing. So let me just find this. So when you add an animation prop, it does say testing. You should be aware that these aren't going to work right, but yeah, we'll improve them and get it out of testing eventually. So this is just how I do my testing space. I know it's not normal. Usually people have their own experimental namespace. I might do something like that yet. I haven't really decided. For now, I've just been tacking on testing so that it's very obvious to the end user that it's a function for testing. So that's where the animations are. And also, they need lighting on them. The shaders need improved. And we're going to figure that out. I'm going to work on some in the next upcoming steps. But feeling pretty happy about it overall. Yeah, it kind of stinks to not be able to find out exactly what's going on in the animations there with the multiple files, but I dug through, I refactored, I dug through more, I refactored. I'm kind of at my end with it, but it's got its own model loader. I still need to make it reuse models, so maybe I'll just add a few notes here on the fly. You do add ref go or load saving. It's a weird way of wording it. Or using already loaded models. This is going to be tricky because we have to do this with both the model info, which is this out model, and we need to make sure we set these animations or at least grab the right animations. I don't know. I gotta change that setup or understand it a little better. I think that's the crux of the problem. There are some animations on every animated model. So when we instantiate an animated prop, it comes with a pointer to an animator and an animation. So I might need to do these separately outside of this and link them that way somehow. And I gotta think about that. But yeah, that's where I'm at there. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Keep coding. Matt out. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does mean a lot, and it lets me know that I should keep making this kind of content.